Hello, hi, hello, Tom. I think John is coming. He's quite sick, so we'll just see how he goes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Does he have the flu?
He had the flu, now it's pneumonia, so it's a little bit more serious, but so he's been having a lot of rest this weekend. So I think he'll come up, but he's got quite a bad cough, so I don't know if he will speak at all.
Okay, so
He'll be fine.
You take turn.
Yes, I know. We've had quite a tough time the last period. Yep. Anyway, just different dharmas rising and falling away, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, health, sickness, all the worldly conditions. It has to be like that.
Yes. So let's see if Ajahn is here. Are you there, Ajahn?
I'm here. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ
Sawadika,
ท่านอาจารย์
Ajahn.
Yes, so we can start our discussion. Today we are in our Dhamma home in Saigon. And there are a few questions. There's one person who is a friend of the opera singer, Mr. Khanh, sitting next to the opera singer, and he will have a question. Mời anh đặt câu hỏi ạ. Anh bật mic lên. Câu đầu tiên là khi mà thiểu và các pháp là chỉ là những cái thì bản chất chỉ là những cái khoảnh khắc sinh diệt đó, thì có thấy nhẹ hơn vơi hay bật lại.
Sau khi là có những cái buổi mà nghe giảng pháp vi diệu một cách ngắn ngủi thì em cảm thấy là các pháp sinh diệt nó chỉ là những cái chuyện vui buồn, đau khổ buồn vui của mình, nó chia ra mỏng ra, giống như là mình học Photoshop mà chia mỏng từng điểm nhỏ, từng cái điểm nhỏ nhỏ, thì trong khoảnh khắc nó chỉ thoáng hiện rồi nó lại thoáng mất, nó liên tục vậy. Và khi mình biết được điều đó, mình cảm giác mình vơi đi cái nỗi mà đau buồn hay sân hận nếu mà nó xảy ra đến với mình. Đó là chỉ có những khoảnh khắc mà thôi, và trong những khoảnh khắc đó mà ta biết rõ được nó thì ta cảm thấy nó nhẹ lòng hơn, nó êm ái hơn, và coi như mình dễ vượt qua những cái đau khổ buồn vui đó. Có phải vậy không ạ?
Yes, he said that after listening just a few times, some short discussions about the realities, and come to the understanding that there are only different moments, and all our sorrow and feelings and everything are just discrete moments. Then our sorrow or feeling are kind of alleviated, and we can overcome easily all the suffering. Is that correct?
I don't think there's anything easy about the path. And just because we begin to appreciate intellectually that there are just different moments, whatever arises falls away, the sorrow, the sad feeling, the pleasant feeling, the anger, the kindness, the seeing, the hearing, doesn't mean that so easily all difficulties are overcome. And the reason is because the clinging, the ignorance, which are the real conditions for the arising of all these dharmas, are very deeply rooted. So actually, in the deepest sense, whatever arises and falls away is dukkha, is unsatisfactory. We think of the sorrow, we think of the sad feeling, the sickness as being dukkha. But what about the pleasant feeling now? What about the interest now? What about the kindness now in the deepest sense? Because these also arise and fall away. They are also dukkha. Whatever arises and falls away is dukkha. So the only way that dukkha is overcome is through the eradication of all ignorance and attachment. And this takes a very long time, aeons and aeons of lifetimes. No magic fix, but there can gradually be a little more understanding about what life is now, not just saying, oh, whatever arises is for a moment and gone, but what is there at this moment? What is there that can be known now? For example, seeing is now. We say seeing is in a moment and it's gone, but is there any understanding of seeing? Is there any understanding of what is seen now? Because this is the world for a moment of seeing, a moment of hearing, a moment of thinking. So the world is just for a moment now. So understanding a little more about what life is now is the way that gradually there can be a little more understanding of what is meant by Dhamma. Dhamma, that is anatta, not made to arise by anyone, not in anyone's control. Therefore, it's dukkha. It falls away. It cannot last. It's unsatisfactory. But the beginning has to be the beginning of understanding what Dhamma is at this very moment. Not easy, not in anyone's control. But I appreciate that you are listening so carefully and considering and appreciating the main points. And it's a good friend you have in Miss Hong bringing you to the discussions. Do you have any question about what I just said, Mr. Kang? Is it still easy? Is it easy to understand seeing now? Is it easy to understand what is seen now?
Thì cũng thấy nhưng mà bằng sự cảm nhận, bằng cái mường tượng rồi, chứ còn mình cũng hiểu vậy đó. Mỗi ngày thì cũng đã làm quen với cái lớp học này từ hồi ở nhà cũ của cô Bích Hồng, từ ở Khương 6 Đô Thành đó. Và từ thời đó mà mãi cho đến giờ cũng 5-6 năm làm, như bây giờ nó mới thấm từ từ tôi mới hiểu dần dần ra, chứ còn ngay cái lúc đó thì cũng chẳng biết gì. Và đến bữa nay thì cũng cảm ơn cô là đã nhận xét vậy, chứ mình cảm thấy mình trong cõi vô minh bao la, nó còn mới chớm vậy thôi à. Chứ còn nhưng mà cảm nhận được những cái vi diệu của cái đạo pháp. Pháp là những cái mà mình nó là mặc nhiên mà nó có gì đó. Còn lúc nãy cô có nói về vấn đề mà do trong một quá trình đó, do cái nhiều đời nhiều kiếp, cái ý gì đó, trong vô lượng kiếp nó là cái gì ta, cái nó gọi là trong cõi vô minh, rồi mình gieo rắc những cái đó, mà tự nhiên bây giờ nó tỏ lại với mình phải vượt qua những cái đó, mình hiểu, mình cảm nhận từ từ. Đó là tôi chỉ cảm nhận thôi, chứ còn thiệt ra cũng không có hay hơn gì đó, cũng còn u mê lắm ạ. Yeah. Ý gì thôi.
I'm still figuring out about the meanings of what is being said about seeing, for example. Actually, I started to listen some 6 or 7 years ago when the discussion were held at my friend's place. And still I feel that I have a lot to learn, and what I understood so far is still very, very little, and ignorance is still predominant. Yes, so thank you for your congratulations, but truly I feel that my understanding is still very, very little.
And it has to be like that, because the ignorance is so great, the attachment is so great. So any brief moments of understanding has to be very little and just at a simple or basic level. It has to grow and develop. So the main point is to appreciate that even that ignorance, that attachment, that understanding are just dhammas. They don't belong to you or me or anyone. No one has understanding. No one has ignorance. They are just dhammas that arise by conditions and gone at each moment, as you said before. So sorrow, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, ignorance, attachment, understanding, just different dhammas that arise by conditions and gone. Seeing now arises by its conditions and is gone instantly, usually with no understanding at all. So beginning to appreciate that the truths that the Buddha taught is not understood, hardly understood at all, is a good beginning, because sometimes people think, oh, they know all about seeing. Everyone knows there is seeing. Everyone knows there's hearing. But it's all taken for my seeing, my hearing, and the characteristic is not understood, or it's mixed up with what is seen. So beginning to appreciate as you do that they are just dhammas arising and gone, insignificant, each one unsatisfactory, dukkha, is a good way to start. And I'm sure Ajahn would like to ask you more questions about the realities now as well. So I'll pass to Ajahn.
What is there now? Again, see, the same question. What is there now? Because we all understand now, but what is there? As we think, as we used to think, is there anything now? Just now, only a moment. See, no thought about what is there in a moment at all. Because seeing is moment of experiencing what is there as something, right? But in truth, what about this split second? The moment of seeing itself, and the other moment thinking about that which is seen, and the other moment remember what is seen as something. Is that right? But we learn to understand the truth. What is there? What is the nature of that? What is the truth of that which is there? For example, what is seen is now something is seen. Or we don't have to say anything, it's there seen. But the truth is that without the reality which sees it, now no thought about that at all, but without the reality which sees it, can that be seen? Beginning to learn to understand what about a moment is. Do we have to translate or not necessary?
It's already going on, Ajahn.
Oh, I see. So there can be question and answer like, can anyone understand the truth of that which is seen without hearing about it? That the differences between the seeing and that which is seen is right now at moment of seeing. They are there unknown because no thought about that which sees and that which is seen at all in life until hearing about a moment. What is there in a moment? The moment of seeing is not moment of hearing. Is that true? Because sound is heard, it appears to that which hears it. Begin to consider the truth of each moment in life, to understand the truth of it as it's not permanent at all. It's conditioned to arise to be different moments. No one makes it arise at all, to be seeing or to be hearing or to be thinking. They are there by condition, moment to moment, not the same moment at all. Beginning to understand what is there in life from birth to death. And that can be the understanding of the truth. What is meant by birth and what is meant by death is this moment, birth and death, or what? Beginning to consider the question about it. Because Buddha taught about the truth, but the one who hears it, what about the understanding of what he taught? For example, what is there is conditioned to arise and then fall away instantly. One characteristic, the reality which is there, arises to experience no matter what is seen or heard or touched or thought about. There must be a reality arising, experiencing from moment of birth on and on and on until this moment. It's the end of that which arises and experiences what is there, what we take for in this world. No more experiences of whatever is there at all, of this world, this moment, when it's death. That's why learn to understand the truth of what is there in life, what is the beginning, what is the end, and how come to be birth of different animal or people, man or woman, and so on. That can be known. Otherwise, no understanding of the truth at all. That life is so short, so very, very short. Just in a split second moment. No thought about it as that at all. But thinking about the truth, consider just one word of truth from the enlightenment about everything in life. It's there by a reality which experience whatever is seen or heard or thought about in life. Is it a reality, the reality which arises and experience what is there now appearing? Just talk about that in order to understand the truth of it, that it is just a reality, not anyone at all, because it's conditioned to experience that and then gone instantly. Is this life? Is it true? Beginning to learn about what is taken for life is not permanent at all, just in a moment, arising and falling away. Is that true? Beginning to understand what is there, to let go ignorance and the idea of self or something permanent, to understand the truth, whether what is true is not permanent or is permanent. It's the reality which is conditioned to arise to experience, or it is the reality which is conditioned to arise but cannot experience anything. Is that true? Just consider what is said is true or not, because it's about the truth of life now, each moment. So there can be a little more understanding of what is life, what is there in life. Is there anyone in the world? Is it life of me or someone or cats and dog or whatever? Or it's just a moment of experiencing what is there and then gone. The beginning, we take it for birth. The end, we take it for death and on. So what for? Just arise to experience what is there at the beginning of this life and experience what is there from moment to moment. Only 5 doorways, and thinking about it is another doorway. That's why learn to understand the truth of each moment. Otherwise, what is there is unknown until death. And there are conditions for whatever arises, like just this life again and again and again. No understanding about the truth of it at all. And when there is the hearing of the word about the truth from the one who has enlightened, consider it whether it's true or not. Life is not permanent, and what is life is just a moment. From moment to moment, we can break it up into just now, previous moment, future moment, and this moment. They are different. Is that true? So where's I, or where's permanent thing, or where is something that taken from just a moment of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching? And what about the seeing just a moment ago? And what will be next moment? Experiencing unexpected, unknown object. Is that right? Just by conditions, living to experience different things and then gone and then die. Is that true? So understanding in truth what is there at moment of birth or what can be taken for someone or I permanent because birth is gone. The moment after birth, all gone. Until moment of seeing now, gone too. Everything is not permanent at all. And no one can make it arise. So this is the truth of what is there, which is life from moment to moment. No one at all, no thing at all, only that which appears and disappears. Is that true? Appears and disappears, and then appear and disappear. Can it be something or someone, or no one and nothing at all? All gone, sunyata, never return, never to arise again. Is that true? So life is so short, no matter how long we take it, 100 years, 1,000 years. But is that just in a moment, from moment to moment? Without moment to moment, how can it be 1 year, 2 years, 100 years, and so on? Is that true? Just begin to understand the truth. Actually, there cannot be any permanent moment at all. That's why no one there, because whatever is there is just as it is. Seeing sees and gone. Seeing cannot hear, it cannot think, it cannot like. Different realities from different conditions arising and falling away unexpectedly, depending on conditions. Is it right? Just consider what is right understanding, or wrong understanding, or no understanding of the truth at all. Is that right? Just begin to have right understanding, little by little, about life and this moment. Is that true? Again and again. To understand the truth, the ultimate truth of life, of the world, of whatever is there, as one takes it, right or wrong, what is there in life, each moment can be known when it's there. To study, to know whether the truth of that moment can be known because it's there. So, can there be the understanding of the true nature of seeing right now? Because it's there. It depends on whether there is understanding or ignorance. When there's no considering of the truth of each reality which is there, how can there be any understanding of the truth? That's why we begin to know that in life, what are there? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and then thinking, no matter of what story or happenings or events, what are true, what is the truth of that very moment. We can think about anything right now, where is it and what is it at moment when it's the object of thinking only, and when it's there seen and when it's there heard, what is there in truth? Is it any story, any events, any things happening at moment of seeing or hearing or smelling? Is it true? Just learning to understand what is there in life right now, beginning to have some words about the truth, to be considered and have confidence of the truth. That since it's so true right now, it can be learned little by little until it appears as we have thought about the truth of it. It's gone. Sound gone. Hearing gone. Thinking is not seeing, so even right now, seeing is not permanent, which it seems like it's there all the time. But what is the truth? Is it still there at moment of hearing or moment of thinking? Is this life? So what
Cảm
we
ơn
have,
sư. Và vậy là khi mình thấy là chỉ có cái thấy và cái nghe thì chỉ có cái nghe. Nhưng mà thì biết như thế, nhưng mà thật ra thì khi mình thấy thì mình lại để cái tâm mình vào cái thấy đó. Thấy một bức tranh đẹp mà mình lại bức tranh nó đẹp quá. Hay là mình nghe một cái bài nhạc hay rồi mình cũng động tâm, thì không biết là cái thấy chỉ là thấy và cái nghe chỉ là nghe, thì không hiểu là mình có đạt được cái đó không. Thường thường là thấy là mình bị tác động liền vào cái giác quan mình đụng đâu mình biết cái đó, mình có cái cảm xúc đến đó, thì có phải là cái thấy và cái nghe nó lôi kéo mình, và cái đó có phải là vô minh không ạ?
So we know that in truth, seeing is just seeing, and hearing is just hearing. But we are usually absorbed in what is seen and heard. We are, for example, infatuated by the beauty of a picture, for example, or the melody when we hear. So does that mean that because of ignorance that there is so much carrying away by seeing and hearing?
there is not only seeing and that which is seen, right? Even at moment of seeing and that which is seen, what are there are not known yet if we don't talk about it. For example, memory, see, is the memory now, takes it for that which is seen, shape and form as something remembered in concept about it. That is something. But in truth, what is taken for something can be understood in just a moment. How many moments to be something? Or only one moment of seeing, can it be something, object of liking, so much attached to that as so beautiful? In truth, just one moment, a dot of what is seen. Can it appear as something like cat and dog, dish and forks, and so on? That's why learn to understand the impermanence of just one moment, but no understanding of the succession from moment to moment. Condition just nimitta, the sign, the mark, the shape of something to be taken for something permanent. But in truth, we can divide each moment into just very, very short moments, split seconds. Is there any fork or spoon in just a moment of seeing? That's why without the understanding of the nature of it closer and closer, the idea of something permanent is always there, because not understanding just the truth of one moment as it is, it cannot be anything at all. only sound is heard and then gone. That which is seen and then gone. Is that not true? But the reality which marks and remembers the succession, the rapidity of the arising and falling away so very quickly conditions something there as shape and form at moment of just open one's eyes is there. How fast it is that no one can know it without consider the truth at moment of hearing about the truth of what is there as it is right now. Begin to understand the truth of what is there in life from moment of birth on and on and on up to now. How come the idea of something if there is only just one very short moment of seeing? Impossible. That's why we
In other
take,
words,
yes, please.
sorry, Jen. I was going to say, in other words, we think that we're carried away with ignorance and attachment by the seeing and hearing, but actually it's by the attachment to the thinking about the idea, the story about what is seen, what is heard, the ignorance that takes that something for being what is seen or heard. For example, you say we're absorbed in the beauty of what is seen or the melody that is heard. But what is seen is just a visible object for an instant, as Ajahn said. What is heard is just sound for an instant. But because of the memory, marking and remembering countless visible objects, countless sounds, and countless stories and ideas about what is seen or heard, there is the idea of the beauty of what is seen, the melody of what is heard. So it's actually the clinging and attachment that one is absorbed in on account of what is seen and heard. So this is why there has to be understanding from the beginning of just what is seen now or just what is heard now.
So what we are talking about now, the truth of every moment, or we can say the truth of life. Without one moment of experiencing, can there be life? And why it's not just be one moment only? There are conditions for whatever arises to arise and then gone, and condition again, the next one arising and falling away all the time. That's why we learn little by little to understand the truth of what is there a little more. For example, we talk about seeing, and what about memory, remembering? What is there? It's there too. No matter what is experienced, there is a reality which marks and remembers what is there. Right now, it does not show up, but it's there. It's there, remembering what is there from moment to moment, all the time, even not in word, but once it's there, a reality remembers and condition at the moment to remember the other moment, on and on and on. No one can stop the way it is. The reality which arises to experience far away, but as it's the reality which arises and experience, it is a condition to condition the next moment to arise and experience on and on and on. We learn about each condition for what is there conditioned There are so many conditions. We learn little by little. For example, without the eye, can there be any seeing? Impossible. See, we learn to understand of the truth of what is there cannot arise by itself or by anyone, but only by conditions. No one at all. It's the way the reality is, like heat and cold. It's a reality. It's hot. Can anyone stop it to be hot? Can anyone stop it to arise? When there are conditions for its arising, whatever arises is conditioned. So we learn little by little about conditions for whatever arises. But before that moment or that level of understanding, what about the truth of what is there that we used to take it for? Seeing sees, or that is seeing. But what is it? It's real, it's a reality, it arises and it experiences because the object which is seen is there appearing, the sound appears, the smell appears. Without the reality which experiences it, can it appear? That's why learn to understand the way what reality is, different ones by different conditions. So there is the reality which remembers or marks the object to be known for sure. Who's who? See, it's not just seeing, it's memory of that which is seen. Again, 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 again. That's why whatever is there experienced, there is a reality which arises together with seeing, but it does not perform the function of the chief of experiencing only that. Just experience the object clear, then the other reality like remembering does not see, but it experiences the object by remembering marks that which is seen of different characteristics and so on. Because what is there appearing from moment to moment is not the same. A moment of seeing an object, it does not arise again to see that object by conditions. Gradually, they learned from hearing the truth about it, from the one who enlightened the truth, Samma Sambuddho. Even that, the reality is not as anyone at all. The high and the greatest understanding of the truth developed from years and years ago. There must be condition for whatever is there. That actually, whatever arising has to be by only its proper conditions. That's all. Hearing does not need the eye base, but it needs the ear base to be moment of experiencing that which can impinge on the ear base only. At that moment, it conditions a moment of just arise and experience, so short. Just arise and experience that which impinge on the ear base, the sound, different from sight, by conditions. They are all realities, different realities. What is real is Dhamma, so they are all different Dhammas by different conditions. No one at all, because it's gone. Before arising, it's not there. No, nothing, and then something, and then nothing again. Is it true? Just begin to understand what is there as it is, or different realities conditioned by different conditions, all gone. never be the same at all from years and years ago. What is there just arise and falls away instantly, never to return. And it can be known in this life now, this moment. It's not just a moment ago. And it's not that which arise after this moment. Never lasts. Are we talking about the truth of what is there now? Seeing, hearing, thinking, considering different realities by conditions. So is there someone? Is there something permanent? Reality does not appear as it is, but the arising and falling away so very rapidly condition the shape and form of everything experienced to be taken for something all the time. So there are so many unknown realities. If there's no understanding, if there's no hearing, if there's no considering, to understand what is there just in a moment. And how many moments? Uncountable. Even just the word now, many different moments. Not only one moment here, what about the other moment there? See, one moment, different conditions. Uncountable realities. Is that true?
Thank you, Ajahn. Um, yes, I will ask friends if they have question. Cô Giới Hương có định đặt câu hỏi không ạ? Không ạ? Em có định đặt câu hỏi không? Không sao đâu, nếu mà có thắc mắc gì thì em cứ đặt câu hỏi. Còn nếu mà không thì sẽ mời đặt câu hỏi thứ hai của anh. Không, câu hỏi thứ hai của anh là về sóng với hạt ạ. Anh có nhớ câu hỏi của anh không? Dạ không sao. Để bây giờ em sẽ nói luôn câu hỏi của anh vừa nãy ha. So the second question from Mr. Kain, he already said that earlier in Vietnamese, so I translate right away. He said that according to his understanding, we are just actually, in truth, wave and particles. And because of conditions, sometimes we can be reborn as this person or that person in some or other planes. Is that understanding correct or not? Vâng, bằng tiếng Việt là vừa nãy anh Khanh có nói là theo cái hiểu của anh thì là chúng ta về mặt bản chất chỉ là sóng và hạt mà thôi, và khi mà có đủ duyên thì sẽ trở thành cái con người này hay là con người kia, nhưng mà sau đó rồi thì lại trở thành là hạt và sóng. And he also said that in the end we become again waves and particles. Please help explain. Thank you.
So even now, is there any I or you or this or that person to become anything? At a moment of seeing, is there a person? At a moment of hearing, is there a person? Is what is seen the visible object a person? We think about the story of what is seen. That's why it seems that some objects seen are objects of beauty, or some sounds are objects of great beauty. But actually what is seen is just an element, visible object that arises and falls away. And the Buddha taught that actually whatever arises and falls away in the deepest sense is not an object of beauty, but it's foul, asubha, because it's not in anyone's control and it's impermanent and gone. It's unsatisfactory and it's foul. So the clinging to the idea of someone here, this person or that person, something there, something that's seen, something that's heard, is so deep-rooted. And that's why we think about this or that person and how they will be reborn and what plane they will be reborn in. But actually, where is the person now? There are just different nama elements and rupa elements. It doesn't matter whether they're called elements or particles or waves or anything else. But seeing is a reality that arises and falls away. Visible object is a reality, an element that arises and falls away. So very briefly, and can a scientist understand anything about the truth of the reality that is appearing now, the seeing now, the pleasant feeling now, the hearing now, the nama elements or particles, or the rupa elements that are experienced for an instant and gone? It is these different elements that can be understood little by little until they are directly understood as dhammas, which don't last and which each one is foul in the deepest sense. So forget about the idea of this or that person who becomes anything, because right from the start, at this very moment, no person there, no person to become anything. We think so sadly about the passing away of this or that person, but this or that person actually never existed. There were only ever different elements arising and falling away, those elements that can experience an object and those elements that don't experience anything, dhatus. Each dhamma is a dhatu, an element of no significance and gone instantly, even now. Understanding the truth about element now, Dhamma now, is the way that there will be understanding about elements yesterday, last year, last life, and elements tomorrow, next year, next life, just the same, just different nama elements and rupa elements arising and falling away all the time. No core to be found, no person to be found, no living being of any kind to be found, no thing to be found at all.
Cho em hỏi thêm là các pháp nó là những khoảnh khắc nó sinh diệt, thì nó có cái chu kỳ không? Và những cái chu kỳ đó nó có phải là cái duyên của mình qua nhiều đời không? Những cái khoảnh khắc đó nó cứ sinh rồi sinh diệt, nhưng có những khoảnh khắc nào nó lặp lại. Vậy nó có lặp lại không, và nó có cái chu kỳ nào đó không? Và cái chu kỳ đó nó có lệ thuộc, nó có dính dắt mắc gì với cái túc nghiệp của mình đời trước không? Có một cái chuỗi mà nghiệp của mình đó, không hiểu nữa.
He said that so Dhamma arise and pass away. Is there any cycle where they repeat the Dhamma which already arisen before, repeat again, and is it influenced by the deeds that are already committed in the past?
The seeing now, the element of seeing at this moment, falls away instantly and never arises again, gone forever. Now there's another moment of seeing, different from the moment of seeing before, but the same characteristic. What is seen is different visible object. So whatever arises is gone, can never be repeated. But we learn about the characteristics of different realities whether it's seeing now or seeing a moment ago, seeing of what we call the human or seeing of what we call the ant. It's just seeing, just the reality that arises, experiences what is visible and is gone forever. And each seeing is accompanied by different mental factors that perform their particular functions, different from the seeing itself. We begin to learn that whatever arises in life arises by different conditions. So the seeing now is conditioned by past karma. It is the result of past karma. It's also conditioned by the visible object that has impinged already on the eye sense. If there was no visible object to be seen, seeing couldn't arise. If there was no eye base, if one was completely blind, the visible object wouldn't appear, wouldn't be seen. And the moment of consciousness before seeing, the citta before seeing, has to have fallen away, another condition. So there are many different conditions, many different causes for each reality, each element to arise. Beginning to appreciate that there are these different conditions, it's a way to understand that these elements are not in anyone's control. They're not in the control of a scientist in a laboratory. They're not in the control of you or me or anyone, because there is no you or me or scientist in the laboratory. There are just different elements arising, conditioning other elements and falling away completely, never to arise again. The visible object that's seen, it arises by conditions which are different from the seeing consciousness. It has to be supported by other physical elements, other rupas that it arises together with. If it's outside the body, it has to be conditioned by temperature. So we begin to appreciate there are different conditions, different causes, but no one who can do anything, no one who can make any element arise. Even now, you may think that it's your choice or decision to speak, but each moment of thinking, each intention, each utterance, each sound that is made arises by different conditions. No you or me that can choose anything. So by learning a little more about the conditioned nature of these realities, there can be more appreciation that there is no one there, no one to influence, no one to do anything, no one to make any reality arise again. Is it interesting, Mr. Kang? Interesting to understand a little more deeply about the nature of dhammas.
Dạ, rất hay ạ. Em cảm ơn ạ, rất là hay. Dạ. Tuy em vẫn cũng còn mơ hồ lắm, mà cũng rất cảm ơn.
It's still quite vague to me, but I think it's very interesting. I got interested in it. And
So,
I think, yes, the lady
so
next.
yes, nothing easy about getting rid of suffering, because the nature of dhammas, it's very deep, very subtle, not easy to understand. And because they arise by conditions and no one can do anything, it's not simple or easy at all. Let's continue.
Dạ thưa, con cũng rất là hạnh phúc sau khi con được nghe những cái bài pháp của cô. Nhưng vấn đề là hiện tại là con cũng vẫn còn cái sự là mơ hồ lắm, vì nó nằm có 20% hiểu thôi, còn cứ lặp đi lặp lại vậy con bị lặp cái tư tưởng ạ. Nên thành thử là con có những cái con hỏi nó không có vào đề, nhưng mà nó là thực tế và cuộc sống, nên con muốn là ứng dụng trong cuộc sống. chứ nói về các pháp duyên khởi này thì con chưa có am hiểu.
She also said that she feels very happy listening to your explanations, but also at the same time she feels that it's very vague, and she only can get about 20% of what is being said. And she also feels that the words come back again and again, they are repeated, and she cannot connect it with real life. So she'd like to hear something that connect to the real life, the daily life.
Would she like to give an example from daily life? I think that would be helpful, so we can use her own example.
Dạ, ví dụ như là các pháp do duyên khởi, như là con lấy ông xã con là cũng là duyên khởi nên con gặp ổng, rồi con sanh con, rồi tất cả như vậy nó tóm chung là quanh quẩn trong một cái gia đình là cái hiện tại thôi. Con muốn hiểu rõ thêm một như vậy là cái gần với con nhất để con nắm được cái gần nhất đó.
For example, her getting married to her husband, or her giving birth to her children, they are Dhamma that are conditioned. So these are examples that she feels very close to her daily life and easier for her to understand.
So when we talk about dhammas, we're not just talking about situations like, oh, last year my friend got married, or this year my friend had a baby, or now I'm watching television and after the discussion I will prepare a meal. These are stories about so many dhammas. For example, let's talk about getting married, the day of getting married. How many moments are there? How many moments of consciousness, how many chittas are there in a day of getting married?
Nếu mà theo như con suy nghĩ là rất là nhiều khoảng khắc, từ vì mỗi lần con nói ra là nó hiện tại là nó lại sinh diệt, hiện tại lại sinh diệt.
Tức là từng lời đã được rồi. A lot of moments.
Can we count them? Or we cannot even begin to count, even at the moment of first waking up in the morning. So many moments of consciousness, moments of seeing, moments of hearing, moments of pleasant feeling, moments of worry or anxiety, moments of loud sounds, soft sounds, different sounds that are heard, pleasant sounds, unpleasant sounds, moments of thinking about what is seen, what is heard, thinking about the plans, thinking about the preparations, thinking about breakfast, countless moments of thinking, even when just waking up, even in the first few moments of waking up. So we talk about the reality of getting married, but actually getting married is just a shorthand for countless moments that we cannot begin to count. Is the seeing when getting married different from the seeing now? Is the hearing at that time different from the hearing now? Or is it the same?
Dạ thưa khác nhau ạ.
It's different.
Well, actually, it's correct because, as we said, each moment of seeing is different, but it's still just the visible object that is seen, whether when getting married or now. It's still just sound that is heard at that time or at this time. It's still thinking about different ideas, thinking about the people in the room, thinking about the dress, thinking about the food, thinking about the guests, thinking about the other person and the ceremony, just as now, thinking about the people on the screen, the people in the room, thinking about what we've been listening to. So just thinking about different objects, but it's still just thinking, conditioned by memory. How do we know that this is Su Chin and this is Mr. Kang and this is Hong? Because of memory, memory about the visible objects seen, memory about the sounds, memory of the names. So it's just the same.
Yeah.
So the realities don't change just because the situation is different. And what the Buddha explained is that what is real at any moment are the underlying realities, the seeing, the hearing, the thinking, the visible object, and the sound. And these have the same characteristic whenever they appear. So if we want to talk about understanding the present moment, it needs to be the understanding of the realities that we take for the present moment. Because the present moment is actually just a concept. What we mean when we talk about understanding the present moment is understanding the realities that are appearing at the present moment. And this is the understanding that the Buddha explained is the path to eradicating ignorance. And that's why when we talk about realities, you may not think that we are talking about daily life, but we are talking about daily life because daily life is the same realities that are appearing now. If we want to understand, if we say we would like to understand more about how the Dhamma relates to particular situations, such as the examples you gave of marriage, childbirth, etc., we are slightly missing the point of the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha's teaching is not to understand these situations better, but to understand the realities that are arising at any given moment.
And then we come back to this moment because the Buddha taught that life just exists at this moment. What's gone has gone. So no use to dream about it. And what hasn't come. So no use to wish and be lost in the story about what hasn't come. But what is there now? At this moment, is there wedding, or is there a feast, or is there, in truth, moments of seeing, moments of hearing, moments of thinking? So by beginning to understand more about what life is right now, seeing now that sees, not anyone that sees, not anything that is seen, there is more understanding of how life is at other times too. When there was the wedding, it was still just seeing, still just thinking, still just hearing, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, likes, dislikes, hardness touched, memory about this or that object, just like now. And it will be the same next life and next life, the same, seeing, thinking, hearing, thinking. So this is why we talk a lot about this moment, because that's all there is at any time. There can only ever be understanding of what life is at this very moment. Does it still sound very vague or a little more understanding now?
Dạ thưa hiểu rõ ràng ra vì sở dĩ là hiện tại bây giờ đang thấy thì cái đó là kiếp quá khứ, cái quá khứ đã qua rồi thì nó cũng giống như vậy, nó không khác nhau, nhưng mà nó chỉ khác nhau ở khoảng khắc thôi, đúng không ạ?
She said that yes, a little bit clearer, like the seeing that has been in the past. It's also the seeing now, but they happen at different moments. So it's not.
That's right. And what is seen is different visible objects. And the seeing arises and falls away, but it's still just seeing. Hearing is just hearing, no matter whether it hears a loud sound or soft sound. It's still just hearing. This is the point. So I'm glad you appreciate it. Pleasant feeling now, or pleasant feeling during the wedding, or pleasant feeling when we're eating lunch. It's still just pleasant feeling, and it's gone. Each one is gone. There's clinging to pleasant feeling, but it's gone, and it'll be followed by unpleasant feeling very soon.
Hôm qua chị có nói là sau khi nghe pháp đàm xong thì chị cũng có thêm một cái về định hướng cho cuộc sống của chị. Chị có muốn nói thêm về điều này không?
Dạ có. Như hôm qua con có đang nghe được pháp đàm á, là sư cô đã giảng và cô cũng đã giảng là khi lột ra từng lớp cuối cùng là không có cái lỗi. Cái đó nó làm là cái đó là bây giờ là con lấy cái đó làm mục tiêu sống cho con. Vì mục tiêu sống là chẳng hạn như ví dụ như là con muốn làm một cái việc gì đó thì con luôn luôn con nghĩ nó chỉ là cái thấy thôi. Giống như các cô giảng thì cái đó con sẽ được bớt đi một phần nào tham sân si. Con nghĩ là vậy.
So it's a little bit long to explain. Yesterday, she came to the discussion, and first she asked about whether she should. Nói ra lại một chút. She's doing voluntary work at the hospital, and she was wondering whether this voluntary work should be given priority or priority to the to bhavana, to development of understanding. And then after that, we talked about the realities. And then after listening to that, she said that she understood that there's no inner core. And now she makes it the purpose of her life. And for example, when she is doing something, she will think about seeing. And based on the understanding that seeing is not me, then that will lessen her attachment. So that it's her sharing just now.
Does it sound like a practice trying to focus on seeing in order to have less attachment? And what about at moments of eating delicious food? Is there focusing on seeing or just enjoying the delicious food? What about now after seeing? What about the attachment that comes in instantly? Because each Dhamma, each reality is conditioned. If we think we should make it the purpose to understand seeing and remember seeing at all times, behind that idea is the idea of I doing something again. It's not the natural understanding. And when thinking about the dilemma, should I do the voluntary work in the hospital or join the Dhamma discussion and develop bhavana, what is the reality? Isn't it just thinking about what should I do? Is there any understanding at that moment of thinking, of doubt, of seeing, of hearing? Because they're all just different dhammas. So in truth, no I to choose or select anything by conditions. Sometimes we're here, sometimes in the hospital, sometimes eating lunch, sometimes with attachment and enjoyment, sometimes with a aversion if it's not the taste that we like. It's very natural. No one has to try to do bhavana. No one has to decide whether to go to the hospital or have bhavana, because each moment of thinking, each moment of intention, each moment of decision is conditioned, not mine at all. Just different elements arising and falling away. And understanding about the different elements, the different realities arising and falling away is the way that gradually life goes more easily. Who knows, you may decide tomorrow not to go to the hospital, and then you wake up and your friend says, please come, we need your help, and you go anyway, all by conditions. Each moment of thinking, each moment of decision, each movement with the hand, each step with the foot, all by conditions. So we don't have to stop the normal activities for understanding to develop. And we don't have to try to focus on what is seeing or what is hearing. Let the understanding develop naturally and easily. Otherwise, the strong clinging to I gets in the way again. Like now, if there's dreaming about your wedding, it's just a reality. It's just thinking conditioned by memory for a moment, and then it's gone. And then now thinking about the hospital, work in the hospital. Again, thinking conditioned by memory, thinking about that topic and then gone. So it's like this all day. Let's see if Ajahn would like to help further.
Where are we? Please.
Dạ, hiện tại bây giờ chúng con đang ở nhà để nghe pháp ạ.
We are at the Vietnam Dhamma home and listening to the Dhamma.
The we, not the home. Where are we?
Cái chúng ta đây nó nằm ở đâu?
Dạ, cái chúng ta nằm thì còn không có thấy được chúng ta nằm ở đâu được ạ.
I don't know where is the we.
So, what are we?
Dạ, con cũng không thể nào mà định nghĩa được chúng ta luôn ạ.
I cannot define what is the we.
So, can the truth be defined?
Dạ, không có để định nghĩa được thì không có sự thật để xác nhận được ạ.
When we cannot define anything, there's no truth to be defined.
There is seeing right now, right?
Cái thấy hiện giờ con vẫn thấy ạ.
Yes, at the moment I am seeing.
Where am I? When am I? And what is I? There is seeing, everyone knows, because seeing is there right now. But I am seeing, where is the I? Can you find I? Seeing, I am seeing?
Thực tiễn thì là có, nhưng mà khi nghe pháp thì con lại thấy không. Yeah.
Usually there's an I who sees, but when I listen to the Dhamma, there's no I.
Is it confident about no I now? At all? Seeing is seeing. Where's the I, or what's the I at moment of seeing? None at all. Is that true?
Dạ thưa đúng ạ.
Yes, that's right.
But when we talk about other things, we forgot that it's not I who understands or who hear that word and so on. It's all, the truth is that all are different realities, conditioned to arise to perform its function. For example, there is memory. It's a reality which arises and remembers. It just arises to remember, that's all. Is that true? Can it feel? Can it like? Or it remembers? Or, so is it I remembering? Is it I remember? Or remembering a reality arises and perform the function of what, and when it arises, it remembers. The seeing cannot remember. The hearing cannot remember. The feeling cannot remember. So is remembering real? Is it a reality? Is
Cái
there
tưởng nó
memory
không thể
now?
là hiện tại được ạ. Thực tại. Nó không thể, cái tưởng nó không thể là cái thực tại được ạ.
She says she doesn't think that sanya is a reality. I think that she doesn't have any understanding of this word.
Is this remembering or memory right now?
Dạ hiện giờ là có trí nhớ ạ.
Yes,
What,
right now there's remembering.
I, or just remember itself, a reality which arises to remember? No one there at all. No I. Remember, it's the function of the reality which arises to remember. In order to understand it, no matter what,
Dạ thưa là chỉ là cái chức năng ghi nhớ thôi ạ.
It is just an element that has the function to remember.
and when there's more and more understanding, firm understanding of reality as it is, it cannot be taken for I, little by little, at moment of thinking or considering only. Is that true? Because if we didn't talk about it, it's there all the time. I remember this, I remember yesterday events or happenings and so on. But in truth, there must be a little more firm, confident understanding the truth that actually there are only different realities conditioned to arise and fall away. No I at all, no permanent I or anyone at all. It's only a momentary conditioned reality arising and falling away all the time, no matter when, even right now. Seeing is conditioned to arise, to see and then fall away. It's not there at moment of hearing. So where's the I? At moment of seeing, no I. At moment of hearing, no I. At moment of remembering, no I. Learning to understand the truth of whatever is there, to let go the idea of I, which take whatever is there, experiences anything as I see, I know, I like, and so on. So, can it be reborn? The memory arising with seeing, remember the object which is seen, gone together with seeing. Can it arise again?
Cái tưởng mà đã diệt đi rồi nó có thể sinh khởi trở lại không?
Dạ thưa, cái tưởng nó đã diệt đi rồi thì nó không có sinh khởi trở lại được ạ. Nó khác nhau hết từ cái khoảng khắc ạ.
So the rememberings that has passed away cannot arise again. At different moments, the remembering is not the same.
So understand that the world, whatever is there, arising and falling away, cannot be taken for anything or anyone at all, because it's not there anymore. Is that true?
Dạ thưa đúng ạ.
So can there be a little more understanding of the truth of each reality in order to let go that it's just a moment of that which is conditioned to arise and performs the function of different realities, experiencing the object which appears together, like seeing arises with memory and feeling and so on. They experience the same object, but they are not that which is that which experiences the object clearer than the other reality which experiences the same object, but not as citta, the chief of experiencing. Learn to understand what is there little by little, to let go the idea of I remember, I like, I feel. The more understanding of the truth, the more letting go of that which is taken for I in a day, all day. Otherwise, it's just remembering no one at all, nothing at all, or a Dhammas. But when it's there, it does not appear as just a Dhamma. It appears as something, as it has to be taken long time ago, from birth on and on, my house, my room, my friend, and so on. This is the way to understand Dhamma, the reality, as no one and no thing at all. It is conditioned to arise and then gone, never to return. So no rebirth at all. Is that right? So
Dạ
there
thưa
are
đúng ạ.
Yes, that's right.
So life is just the moment of conditioned reality arising and falling away by conditions. That's why we learn to understand no matter what kind of reality appear in different moments, understanding the truth of it because it's there. For example, seeing cannot be changed. No matter today it arises and see, and tomorrow seeing arises again. Not the same, but it is that which arises to experience and then gone instantly. Beginning to let go the idea of self, even at moment of hearing, considering the truth of what is there as it is. That is Satya Parami. Just be true to the truth, to that which is there as it is, to let go the very sticky and very strong, so very great attachment with ignorance to that as something permanent in life. Little by little, it takes quite a long time to be truthful, to understand that this is only just intellectual understanding, because seeing arises and falls away. That is the understanding of the nature of that, which is conditioned to arise only and then gone, fall away instantly. But it does not appear as it is yet. That's why learning more about different realities in a day, to understand no matter what anger or attachment or moha or ignorance or what is that in a day, is just a moment of what is their condition to arise and then gone. Is it true that in the day, even hearing, understanding the truth of it, but it's not enough yet because the accumulation of the great ignorance and attachment to whatever is there as something is so very great. How can it be eradicated, never to arise again? Only by understanding a little more, a little more, a little more, in order not to forget the characteristic which is there appearing as what we have heard, like sound or hearing or thinking or memory or feeling. See, they are there in daily life. So we are talking about daily life. We are learning about the truth in daily life, that they are only different moments by conditions, and there are different realities arising together and perform their function unknown until it's there to be talked about, like memory now. It is real, it remembers what is there, experienced, but it's wrong memory because it takes that as something permanent all the time. And the idea of self, atta sanya, which marks and remember what is there as something all the time, is different from anatta sanya. But learn to understand the truth from hearing, considering, to have firm confidence that that can be gradually known when it's there, little by little, but not just only this level of understanding more about the other reality like sati and panya and virya and so on. That's why we can talk about what is there one by one, little by little, until it can condition moment of not cling too much as before to that which appears, but understand deeper. Whatever is there is the object of clinging when it's not known as it is. That's why there's the term five khandas, and what are the five khandas, and why is khanda, and satipatthana, kayanupassana satipatthana, chittanupassana satipatthana. Just talk about what is there in a moment in life to be known as it is, closer and closer to the moment it's conditioned, arising and falling away by way of nimitta. Learn each word to understand the truth, which is so very subtle. So, is it more confident of they are only different conditioned realities arising and falling away, no matter when and what? So, where's the I? No I at all. So, we can talk about anything to understand a little more, to have more confidence of the truth. No one can change the characteristic of the reality which is conditioned by its proper condition, just to be only that when it's there, arising and falling away, until it can be known just one reality more and more, to understand the difference between different ones, not as something or someone at all. Is that possible? A little more attention to the
Yes.
characteristic that is now appearing.
Dạ chưa.
Not yet.
Now, but hearing more, considering more, can it be a little more firm confidence? Firm, little more. Is it now firm at all? What is saying?
Dạ ngay khoảng cách này ạ. Dạ thưa có, ngay khoảng cách thì có ạ.
at this moment.
What is seen instantly, Kun Sarah, no thought about, that is seen only and then gone. And what takes it for Kun Sarah? Reality, a reality which is not seeing, but it is a reality which is memory, is there, arising with each moment of citta, remembers what is experienced until moment of taking it for something wrongly because no understanding of the truth. Sanya vipalasa. So understand the meaning, the truth of each word.
And if only a little is understood now of what is said, it doesn't matter. It has to be like that. It has to be just a little in the beginning, and then more careful considering, more reflecting, more discussing, a little bit more, a little bit more. So it doesn't matter if a lot of what is said, a lot of the terms, a lot of the words are not understood now, but begin to just appreciate the main point that no I to be found, no I to control or do anything. And gradually there'll be a little more understanding of what is said and discussed and read about in the suttas. But it has to be very slow and gradual.
So patience, we just say, but the truth is that it's a reality, which is not the citta, which experience the object, not the memory, but its moment. The characteristic of it is effort of patience. We are talking about dhammas in life, in a day, even right now.
Thank you so much, Achan and John and Sarah.
สวัสดีค่ะ
Sawadee-ka,
ท่านอาจารย์
Sawadee-ka, and everyone. Thank you.
Get well soon, John.
Thanks